What is going on? Hello and welcome. Season 2, Episode 13, Star Duel preview. I tell you what, guys, I am jacked up today, and it's not because I'm on my third cup of coffee. It is strictly because it's Army Week, and I don't need to overemphasize the significance of it. It's literally the duel and the match that we're looking forward to all year. It's been a whole year since, we've been looking to get revenge on West Point. And I tell you what, the vibes have been good. The energy's been good. The team has been on a four match winning streak in dual competition. It seems like everybody is peaking at the right time. With this being the last duel, we're just 2 weeks away following the competition this weekend from conference, and then another 2 weeks from NCAA's in Cleveland. So literally the peak of the season, and I'm jacked up, and it's not from the caffeine. So it's Army Week. I'm going to dive into why it's so important, not only to me, but for so many of us, who went to school here, for all the parents, and then obviously the guys on the team. It's not just a match. We try to emphasize with the guys that it is a 7-minute match, just like every other duel, every other bout that you've had throughout your season career. But before and after those 7 minutes, there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of people that are going to be there. Alumni is going to be packed, and the energy is going to be different. And then it's something that you're going to look back on for the rest of your life. There's going to be alumni there from 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Who don't just come back to watch wrestling. They're there to see their friends, to reflect on all the great memories that they shared at USNA. So that's something that I think the guys in the arena don't quite conceptualize yet, but as an alumni and as somebody who's immersed into the program, fortunately, like, I get to see the energy from everybody. So yes, it's a 7-minute bout, but before and after, it's going to feel a lot different. And I tell you what, the guys are jazzed, and everybody's looking sharp, just right where they need to be. So excited to see everybody in Alumni Hall for the pre-match social up at the Bo Kovich room, and that's going to kick off at 6 o'clock, 6:15. Again, that's the second deck of Alumni Hall. So it'll go for about an hour and a half, hour 15 minutes. Try and get everybody out of there by around 7:15. For the national anthem and the pre-match announcements and stuff like that. So looking forward to seeing everybody there. If you have not gotten your registration tickets yet for the social, feel free to hit me up. The link has been closed. They will accept people at the door as walk-ins, but for last second planning for food and numbers, please give me an email or a text, and I'll try to get that link open back up for you. In the event you still plan on coming to that pre-match social. Again, there's going to be some food and beverages there offered to anybody. It's there's an admission for people to attend, but the food and drinks are provided. All right, so getting into this duel preview. Okay, I was looking up some stats, and I'm not a huge history guy, but when it comes to wrestling and when it comes to Navy wrestling, I felt like I'd do some homework on some of this stuff. And if you haven't been to the wrestling room in a while, in the last 6 years, really, since Coach Kolat took over back in 2020, there's been some room renovations where it really, and it looks great. If you haven't seen the room, there's pictures online, but Beating Army is literally the centerpiece of the Navy wrestling room now. There's a giant Beat Army wall, and it's got every Star Duel victory labeled on that giant wall, the wall facing Halsey. And it's pretty cool, and in the center of each star is the date of that victory and the team captain of that season. So I was looking up the history of this, and this weekend will be the 70th Star Duel matchup between the programs. And like I suggested, the room really, the wrestling room really emphasizes how dominant we've been in those 70 years with each star. And without knowing the full history of it, you would think, oh, okay, it's probably split, pretty even, but it's not. We in those 69 duels leading to this weekend, there's a series record of 52, 12, and 5. So we've squared up 69 times. We've won 52 of them. And that gives us a winning percentage just under 80%. We're at 78.9 winning percentage. And I found out last night that of all the varsity sports that have at least 10 star matchups against Army, we have the highest winning percentage against Army of all varsity sports at the Naval Academy. So pretty cool history there. And definitely something we're just trying to make it set 53 wins. We're going to try to add stars and fill that wall even more than it already is. Another fun stat, of those 52 wins, 30 of them have been at home. So our winning percentage at home is a little bit better than when we're on the road. Something I learned last night also, we got to honor Coach Peary, Coach Wicks, but we get to honor Coach Peary regularly. Legendary coach for Navy back in the 60s, all the way through the 80s. He coached from 1961 to 1987. When he was head coach, he had a record of 22-2 against Army, and found out during my little research too that the Bo Coppage room is actually named after the athletic director under the Ed Peary era. He was a captain in the Navy at the time when he took over as the AD, and I believe that he was the only active duty athletic director at the Naval Academy, and he was there for 20 years, from 1968 to 1988. And during his time, we never lost to Army with Coach Peary at the helm of the program. So pretty cool. That's obviously the room that we're doing our social in is named after Captain Coppage, and just thought that was kind of cool to share. So a lot of history there with the Peary and the Coppage era. Okay, for this season, Navy is coming into the duel with a 6-4 overall record in duels, 3-1 in conference play. Wins this year so far over Appalachian State, Morgan State, George Mason, Bloomsburg, American, and then most recently Bucknell. So we're on a 4-match winning streak leading into this Friday. And so with that 6-4 record, we're, like I said, 3-1 in conference. Army has a record of 4-5 on the year, and they're 4-1 in conference. Both of us have lost to Lehigh. If you guys were there or watched the duel, we had a really tight duel with Lehigh. It always comes down to 1 or 2 matches, and this year was no different. Army had a tough one against Lehigh, and we share wins over Bucknell and American. So it's gonna be close, guys. It's gonna be a tough match. This one's important for a lot of reasons outside of the history here, but a lot of seeding implications when it comes to conference, which will be 2 weeks from Friday at American University. And I say that because we have several matchups where there's ranked opponents, Navy versus Army, ranked athletes that could impact not only seedings at conference, but also at the national tournament. So big one here for a lot of the individuals that are wrestling. And then obviously we just want to win and get another star on the wall. We want to keep the momentum going into conference. We want to extend that streak to 5-0. And yeah, so it's going to be a good matchup. a lot of the weights, on paper could go either way just based on how the rankings are positioned. Rankings don't tell the whole story. You've got Flow, you got Intermat, and then recently the coaches poll rankings just came out about 5 or 6 days ago. And those coaches rankings this year, they started a new procedure on how they determine that. But the coaches rankings are really what is going to matter when it comes to who's going to the NCAA tournament post-conference. Obviously, there's each conference is allocated a certain amount of bids per weight class, if you're familiar with how they do that selection. But these coaches rankings are important for those who don't place inside those boundaries at conference. So if there's 2 bids per at the 133 weight class and you're in the coaches rankings at 25 and you place third, you're likely to get pulled into the NCAA tournament based on those coaches rankings. And like I said, this year, the coaches rankings are determined a little bit differently in the past. And I think it's going to improve the EIWA. It's going to improve all the other conferences outside of the Big Ten. It's going to, I think, allow other conferences to get more allocations based on how the procedures have changed, and getting the coaches more involved with those seedings or those rankings. Excuse me. So, looking at the lineups, we have ranked matchups at 141 between Caden Ricciardi, a freshman for us, and then Braden Basil of Army. 165 with Gunnar Filipowicz at Army, and then of course Dylan Elmore for us. 97 is going to be an awesome matchup between either Zion Hall or Peyton Thomas and Wolfgang Frabel. All 3 of these guys have been in and out of the rankings all year. Right now, Zion is at number 32 in the coaches rankings, and Wolfgang Frabel is at number 33. So this one's really important for whoever goes out there for Navy when it comes to those coaches rankings and then seeding at conference. And then, of course, Big Spencer Lanozga at number 14 in the coaches rankings, and then Brady Colbert at number 13. So 285, 197, those guys are within one ranking point of one another, and it's gonna be fun to watch those specifically those 2 weight classes go at it because of the implications leading into conference and the national tournament. Excited to get out there. I'll be bouncing around between the social and the floor with the guys, getting them ready. Looking forward to seeing everyone there. And like I said, 7:30 Alumni Hall is going to be the whistle start immediately following the social up in the Bo Koppich room with the second deck of alumni. If you haven't noticed, I'm sporting the new swag that the store, it just came in. Hopefully you guys got all yours, and we'll be wearing it, representing at the duel. Can't wait to see everybody there. Bring the energy and go Navy, beat Army.